Hi folks, welcome to Indian Geography. We shall now study soil, a valuable resource. We have learned since our junior classes that soil is the thin layer of grainy substance which covers the surface of earth. Soil is of utmost importance for living systems, and it takes about 100 years to form just 1 centimeter of soil. Thus, soil formation is a very slow process. Soil is a mixture of organic matter which gets decomposed to form humus. Any organic matter like leaves, dead remains of plants and animals, all of these get decomposed to form humus. Soil also contains minerals, weathered rocks, water, air, and because of the presence of all these essential components, it is vital for the living systems. All life on earth is dependent largely on the soil, and the type of the soil which we have depends on the variability in the amount of the above components. We shall study that how humus content would be high in soils where we have forests, because there is a lot of life whose remains decay and form more humus. On the other hand, there are places like deserts where the soil is of very less humus content. Thus, the soil in arid areas is acidic in nature and has low humus content. Soil formation, as we've already discussed, is a slow process because it is formed due to the process of weathering of rocks. By weathering of rocks, we mean breaking up and decaying of exposed rocks by changes in temperatures, frost action, plants, animals, or human activity. All these agents which cause weathering cause it at a very slow rate, and hence the formation of soil is very slow. Thus, the agents of weathering are change in temperature, actions of running water, wind, glaciers, and activities of decomposers like earthworms. This is diagrammatic representation of soil profile, where this brown colored portion is called the topsoil. This topsoil contains humus, and all vegetation that we see above the ground largely depends on how fertile this topsoil is. Since the topsoil is rich in humus, the organic materials have got incorporated with the mineral matter, other nutrients and water, thus making this topmost zone suitable for plant growth. This is called horizon A. These are loose parent rocks, and this part is horizon C. Under the horizon C, we have parent rocks. This diagram of soil profile clearly shows us how parent rocks at the bottom got withered and became loose parent rocks. And as we move up the soil profile, we see lesser soil and more sand, silt and clay. That means withering of these rocks has resulted in sand, silt and clay. And thus this region, which is in between horizon A and horizon C, is a transition between the both. It is called horizon B. Unlike horizon A, which contains a lot of organic matter, horizon B contains some organic matter, and it also contains some parent rocks. This weathered rock material is the still unweathered portion of such large rocks, which after weathering have reduced in size. Everything other than this weathered rock material in horizon B is subsoil, which consists of sand, silt and clay. Thus we can clearly make out from this that the first stage of soil formation starts with parent rocks, and the next stage is horizon C, where we have loose parent rocks. Next process of soil formation takes place in horizon B, where we have subsoil which contains sand, silt, clay and weathered rock material, above which we have topsoil in horizon A, where organic materials have got integrated with mineral matter, nutrients and water, and this combination is highly suitable for the growth of vegetation. Let us now talk about factors affecting soil formation. The nature of parent rock. Since soil formation takes place because parent rock undergo weathering, so the nature of parent rocks determine soil formation to a large extent. Other factors affecting soil formation would be climatic factors, topography, organic material, and the time taken. Let us see how these factors affect the soil formation and in what terms. Nature of parent rock determines the color, texture, chemical properties, mineral content, and also the permeability of the soil. Now this is because the color of the soil will be dependent on the parent rock whose weathering has taken place and the soil has got formed. The same is true for the chemical properties of the soil, the mineral content that the soil possesses, and its texture as well. Now the climatic factors which affect the soil formation are temperature and also rainfall. Both these climatic factors determine the rate at which withering takes place, and thus the humus content of the soil. Topography of a place also affects soil formation because the altitude and slope of a given place would determine how well the soil gets accumulated in that place. Thus, to have a suitable topsoil for good vegetation, it is not only soil formation that matters, but also accumulation of soil, which depends on altitude and slope of that region. Other factor is organic material, which directly affects the rate of humus formation. And the rate of humus content of soil depends directly on the flora, fauna, and microorganisms that the soil possesses. Flora, fauna, and microorganisms. Time taken is another factor which affects the soil formation, and it determines the thickness of soil profile. The more the time taken, the more would be the thickness of the soil profile. Thus, thickness of a soil profile depends on the time taken for the soil formation. We know that soil is a renewable resource and that nature renews it in such a way that in 100 years it leads to the formation of 1 centimeter of soil. But topsoil is the most important layer of earth because the agricultural yield depends on the fertility of this topsoil. Not only this, topsoil supports numerous life forms. It becomes the source of food which we derive from the crops that we grow. It also provides us with clothing which we derive from land-based crops like cotton. Classification of soils. The ancient classification of soils was such that we divided soil into two categories, Urvara and Usra. Urvara means fertile soil and Usra means sterile soil. Fertile soil is one which is suitable for crop cultivation, while the sterile soil is one which is not suitable for crop cultivation. We can also classify soil on the basis of texture. Soils can be sandy, clayey, silty, and loamy. On the basis of color, soil can be red soil, yellow soil, and black soil. Let us now discuss a few important questions which have been asked in our past papers. The climatic factors responsible for soil formation are, and the options would be altitude, flora, fauna, temperature, and D, nature of parent rock. We have already discussed that all these are the factors which are responsible for soil formation, like altitude and slope of a given place fall under topography, which is not a climatic factor. Flora, fauna, and the presence of microorganisms determine the rate of humus formation, which is also not a climatic factor. Option C, temperature, is a climatic factor. Along with temperature, rainfall is also a climatic factor. So option C would be the correct one. Next question which has been asked is, humus content is maximum in, and the options were horizon A, option B, horizon B, option C, horizon C, and option D, parent rock. Now we know that the humus content can be maximum where there has been decomposition of the organic matter, which can take place in the topmost region of the soil profile, that is in the topsoil. Now topsoil is a part of horizon A, so the answer would be horizon A. Other important question that has been asked is, what is the top reason for the loss of topsoil in India? Options given are wind erosion, excessive leaching, water erosion, and D was none of these. In the Indian context, the main reason for erosion and loss of topsoil has been water erosion. In regions of the world which are dry, wind erosion is the main reason for loss of topsoil. But it is not true for India as a whole. But in case the question would have asked what is the main reason of loss of topsoil in Rajasthan, then the answer would have been wind erosion. Another important question that has been regularly asked in the past papers is, what is regular soil? And the options that we're given with are red soil, yellow soil, black soil, or alluvial soil. This is a factual question and the correct answer is black soil. Red soil is rich in iron content. Alluvial soil, on the other hand, is the most widespread and the most productive category of soil. It forms a large part of the northern Indian plains. It can be of two types, Bangar, which is old alluvium, and Khadar, which is comparatively newer in formation. Both these are highly suitable for crop cultivation, but if we compare both of these, then Khadar is more suitable because Bangar has considerable amount of kankars, which makes it less suitable as compared to the Khadar soil. With this, we've learned all about the basics of soil, its formation, soil profile, classification of soil on the basis of ancient classification, classification based on texture, and classification based on color. Thanks for watching. Happy learning.